Alcohol and socializing are two things that seemingly go hand in hand. A couple of glasses of wine in a nice restaurant, a few beers with the guys down the bar, an old-fashioned with a business colleague. If we think of most social events, they can often go hand in hand with drinking. But today in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what you need to replace alcohol with to have an even better social life, to socialize with people on a much deeper, impactful level. Now, through my work of helping people get control of their drinking with Sober Clear, I've spoken to thousands of people that have got a drinking issue. And one of the biggest things that keeps people caught up is socializing without drinking. How am I going to be able to spend time with friends, with my in-laws, with, all of this stuff, right? How am I going to do it without a drink? And I promise you one thing, that if you watch this video and you replace alcohol with the thing that I'm going to break down for you today, it'll change your social life in amazing, amazing ways. And just before we get into it, if you want to get access to a free video training that shows you how to get immediate control of your drinking, then please click the link in the description. You'll put your name and email address in, and then a video training will go to your inbox and it will start on the screen that shows you how to get immediate control using something called first principles thinking. So click the link down below to get access to that. And now let's get into the video. So when I was growing up as a teenager, if I could reflect, I don't think I was very good with people. I'd often upset a lot of people and I never knew why. Yeah, I had friends, but one thing that I struggled to do when I was younger was getting people to like me because I didn't know how to do it. I think my friends liked me, but I struggled to make new friends when I was growing up. I hope they liked me anyway, but let me get into this. So I remember I'd made this new friend. And she came from a different school. She was really cool. And we really got on. Like, we just had this great connection and just friends. But then I said something to her and she fell out with me and never spoke to me again. And I just didn't know what I'd done wrong. I didn't know how to deal with people very well. I just didn't think people liked me. And then I kind of went on a journey of drinking and smoking weed and doing all of this stuff. And my relationships with people just got worse and worse and worse during my teenage years. Anyway, at about 18 or 19 years of age, I think I was 19 at the time, I applied to do a ski season. So I applied to do a ski season and go to France to go and spend, 12 weeks, however long it was, working as a chef in a chalet and then being able to ski every day. It's a thing. And just before I went, I'd actually started reading books. So I read a couple of business books. I had no idea what I was doing. I was living as a chef, making about £250 a week, just really, really lost. But one thing I did do is I started reading. And one book that I read was this, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And I read this book just before I went to do the ski season. Now, when I first got to the ski season, I was not drinking alcohol. I remember I went out with a bunch of people, like the other colleagues, and I didn't drink a drop. And they all thought I was weird. But at the time, I wasn't drinking. Because this is how I've always been. It's all or nothing. And then what I decided to do was apply the stuff that I'd learned in this book and use the ski season as a bit of an experiment. So what I used to do is I remember the book, there were like a few key things that really helped. One thing I did when the guests got to the chalet is I'd write down all the names. I'd ask them the name. I'd never forget a single name. I'd write them down. I'd memorize them, and I never forgot anybody's name because the book said to remember people's name, to use people's name. It's the sweetest sound of any language. And I remember it would say things like, never criticize, never condemn, never complain. And it would say to show a genuine interest in people. There were all these things that it got you to do to build a relationship. And at the time, I almost felt a bit sneaky. I thought, what happens if somebody knows what I'm doing? What happens if they know that I'm trying to remember their name because I've read this book? And I thought all of this stuff. But I started applying it. And for one of the first times in my life, I had the biggest boost of self-esteem I've ever had because now I realized how to build a relationship with people. I remember the guests would sit down and talk to me for a couple of hours about their life. And what I started realizing is that I actually like talking to people. I like learning about people. And it told me to show a genuine interest in people. So I kind of thought, well, I'll just fake it. And then I started realizing I'm actually genuinely interested in people. And it was a very life-changing thing because when you realize how to have a relationship with people and you learn what to do and what not to do, it was like unlocking a totally new life. And then guess what happened? I had a few drinks. I actually started drinking on the ski season because we actually got free drinks there. It was like a all-inclusive chalet and the staff were allowed to drink. And it all went out the window pretty damn quickly. Now, I was young at the time, so, I actually drank for like a period of time. I remember I went out skiing and I went onto a slope and my legs were shaking because I was so hungover. And I'm like, nah, do you know what? I'm not drinking again. And I stopped again. And then all the good things started happening again. And I know it's a bit of a strange video, but one thing that I promise you, that if you read this book and you replace alcohol with the principles in this book, your social life will not get worse from not drinking alcohol. You'll be able to develop deeper relationships with people. It's not just this surface level chat at each other. When you apply the principles in this book, you can build amazing relationships with people. But one thing that we actually need to get over is this idea that alcohol enhances our social life. We all think that it helps us, lubricate us, get over the feelings of shyness and all of this stuff. But it couldn't be further from the truth. I recently made a video talking about a party that I went to where there was no alcohol involved, but before the party and at the beginning of the party, I was shy. I was a little bit nervous. I had to push myself out of the comfort zone and talk to new people and risk rejection. And then the nerves went away. I made some new friends and it was awesome. And nobody drank a drop of alcohol. This idea that alcohol enhances our social life is a fugazi. It is total nonsense. Think about what really happens when people drink. Do they get a much deeper connection with people? Or do people start falling out, start arguing, start fighting? Think about the weddings where people overdrink. Think about outside the nightclub. Are those people having a good social life? Shouting at each other, fighting, violence? It does nothing to help our social life. But the principles in that book will help your social life. And if you do that without drinking alcohol, it's going to be awesome. If you click the video on the screen now, you can learn 3 secrets to quitting drinking. Have a great day.